There comes a moment when even the most charming narcissist can no longer hide from reality. They stand at a quiet crossroads, forced to confront the emptiness they created. All the games, the manipulation, the masks, they crumble when the truth becomes too heavy. That truth is simple yet devastating. They destroyed a love that was genuine, something most people spend a lifetime searching for. In the beginning, they believed they were in control. Love was theirs to shape, theirs to bend. They basked in admiration, soaking in every compliment as if it were proof of their worth. To them, affection was not a gift, but a resource to exploit. What they didn't realize was that real love is not endless. It requires care, humility, and honesty, things a narcissist rarely offers. At first, the narcissist felt powerful. They had someone who adored them, someone who believed in the vision of their greatness. But power disguised itself as love, and they mistook devotion for a mirror of their superiority. While they enjoyed the warmth of affection, they never truly nurtured it. Instead, they drained it. And like a candle burning too fast, it eventually dimmed. The breaking point doesn't arrive suddenly. It creeps in slowly, disguised as silence. The calls stop coming as often. The smiles fade. The warmth they once took for granted begins to cool. For the narcissist, this change is confusing at first. They wonder why the love feels weaker, why their partner seems distant. What they cannot admit is that their own behavior caused the shift. Real love dies quietly, not with an explosion, but with a sigh. And when the narcissist finally notices, panic sets in. They are not panicking over the loss of the person, but over the loss of what the person gave them. Validation, admiration, and a sense of importance. Still, somewhere deep down, even they recognize they destroyed something pure, something that will not return. Narcissists are often skilled at rewriting history. They'll tell themselves it was the partner's fault that they weren't loved properly, or that they deserved better, but when the loneliness lingers too long, the mask slips. In those rare, quiet moments, they glimpse the truth. The love was real, but they poisoned it. And realizing that truth is their greatest breaking point. For the partner who loved them, the heartbreak is sharp and lasting. They gave everything: trust, devotion, patience. They believed in the narcissist's potential, thinking love could heal the cracks. But the narcissist mistook kindness for weakness, loyalty for an invitation to exploit. By the time they understand what they lost, it's too late. The person who loved them has already walked away. The narcissist begins to chase shadows. They replay old memories, remembering the laughter, the warmth, the late-night talks that once filled the emptiness inside them. But these memories sting. They are no longer sources of pride, but reminders of what they destroyed. Each flash of the past feels like salt in a wound they tried so hard to pretend wasn't there. The irony of the narcissist's breaking point is that it doesn't come when they hurt others. It comes when they finally recognize they've hurt themselves. They believed they were gaining control, but in truth, they thought the only person who ever saw them beyond the mask. For once, they are forced to face the silence of their own choices. When a narcissist realizes they destroyed real love, it shakes their entire illusion of self. They have built their identity on the belief that they are irresistible, special, and deserving of endless devotion. Losing real love shatters this fantasy. It proves they are not untouchable. For the first time, they see themselves as vulnerable. And that is terrifying. Disibit. Pagdeanjutan, paragraph 1150. Masing-masing 500 karakter dan diberi nomor di atas setiap paragraph sesuai permintaanmu. They try to bargain with memory. If they can replay the sweetest moments enough times, perhaps the ending changes. Yet the tape does not bend. It plays the truth back in plain tones, the apology that came too late, the promise broken again, the night when empathy should have led and pride drove instead. They finally see that love was asking for presence, not perfection, and what they offered was performance dressed as care. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with humility. Friends once warned them gently. They said the relationship looked uneven, that affection seemed to flow one way. The narcissist laughed it off. calling the partner too sensitive or dramatic. Now the echo of those warnings rings louder than any praise. In the quiet, they admit the imbalance was real. Love had been a shelter, and they kicked down the door to feel tall. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns, without applause, without pressure. A narcissist always believes there will be another chance, another admirer, another beginning, another stage. But real love is not a theater with endless shows. It is a garden, and neglect becomes visible only when the soil turns dry. They remember how watered words replaced watered roots. Sweet lines felt safe. Actions required humility, and humility was the one thing they refused. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns without applause. And they scroll through old photos and try to claim the warmth inside each frame. Yet every smile now tells a fuller story. The laughing eyes also carried fear. The tilted heads also held questions no one answered. What once looked like proof of happiness now reads like a careful cover. And for the first time, the narcissist wonders, were they loved or simply endured? They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns. Today, now. The breaking point rarely looks dramatic. There is no thunder or shattering glass. Only a morning that feels colder. Coffee tastes thin. The room sounds bigger. Messages stay unread because there is no message coming. In that ache, the narcissist confronts a painful arithmetic. Attention is not affection, and control is not connection. They chose control. Love chose to leave. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns patiently. They use silence as a weapon, and silence returned as a teacher. Days without replies taught them what their partners learned long ago. Neglect speaks loudly. The narcissist used to believe that withholding warmth created power. Instead, it created a famine. When kindness finally arrived, it felt transactional, and the heart that once waited began to feed itself elsewhere. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with humility now. To keep the mirror shining, they collected admirers like trophies. Yet trophies cannot hold you when you're tired. They only glitter and gather dust. The one person who did hold them asked for honesty and steadiness, not miracles. That simple request felt like an attack. Rather than soften, the narcissist stiffened. Pride won the argument, and love left the room. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns, slowly with care. They remember the last argument in fragments, the trembling breath, the careful words, the door that clicked instead of slammed. There was no scene, just a choice. The partner refused to dance with chaos anymore. That white exit hurts most. It robs the narcissist of the drama they use to rewrite history. Without fireworks, there is only accountability. And it stings. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with empathy now. Nostalgia can be a narcotic. It numbs the sharp edges of truth and paints yesterday in gold. The narcissist drinks it deeply, then wakes with the same ache. No amount of golden tint can color over patterns. Realizing this, they reach for something they rarely touch. Responsibility. The word feels heavy, but it is the only bridge back to humanity, even if not to that love. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns, sincerely. They test the waters with messages, a memory, a joke, a soft apology that avoids depth. The replies are polite, then distant, then absent. Panic spirals. They craft grand promises, but promises feel like costumes now. The partner wants quiet, and quiet cannot be bargained with. It honors boundaries. The narcissist finally tastes the boundary they long denied others. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with respect. When admiration fades, shame rises. It visits like a shadow at noon, thin but unavoidable. They notice how often they redirected blame. They hear themselves insisting again and again that they were misunderstood. The record skips on the same defense. Now, with no audience to applaud, the defense feels small. The story must change or it will spiral into a lonely loop. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns daily. Now, some say a narcissist never learns. Perhaps many don't. But there are moments when pain becomes an honest teacher. Not because suffering ennobles them, but because isolation removes the echo chamber. Without applause, their choices appear in uncrowded light. The lesson is unglamorous. Love requires care when no one is watching, and attention to needs that are not their own. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns, gently with care. They remember the partner's boundaries like signposts they kept ignoring. Please speak, don't stonewall. Please listen, don't perform. Please repair, don't retaliate. Each sign was clear, and each was treated like a dare. Now those markers feel like maps they refuse to follow. Looking back, the trail is obvious. The destination was avoidable loss, and they arrived anyway. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with honesty. There was a night they could have told the truth. The question was simple, the moment tender. Instead of honesty, they chose a story with flattering angles. It worked for a day, maybe a week, but trust dissolved grain by grain. The final collapse looked sudden, yet it was erosion. Now they hold a handful of sand and call it regret, aware that truth was cheaper than this. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns. Today in time, they used to mistake intensity for intimacy. The dramatic highs felt like proof of depth. But intimacy is not fireworks. It is the steady glow of a candle that survives the draft. It is returning after conflict with warmth. Not with a scorecard. They replay their scenes and see how often they chased sparks and ignored the wick. In that light, the loss explains itself. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with patience. Envy threaded itself through their compliments. They said, "I'm proud of you," while bracing against the sting of someone else shining. To dull that sting, they dimmed what they should have celebrated. Each small cut seemed harmless. Together they bled the bond. The day the partner succeeded without sharing it with them, they recognized the cost of turning love into competition. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns steadily. They always believed they were extraordinary. Perhaps they are, but not in the way they hoped. The rare skill they possess is survivorship without tenderness. They can outlast uneasy feelings by armoring up, yet armor rusts relationships from the inside. The person who once tapped gently at that shell is gone, and the echo inside the suit sounds like their own name. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns, humbly with care. The apology drafts pile up. Each version tries to hold control while sounding sincere. "I'm sorry you felt hurt. I'm sorry things got complicated." Eventually, a bolder line appears. "I am sorry I hurt her." The period at the end shakes them. It offers no escape hatch, no shared blame. They read it again and feel a door open, not to reunion, but to finally becoming real. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns sincerely now. They thought accountability meant humiliation. It doesn't. It means standing in the same room as your choices without costume or smoke. It means answering questions that only you can answer. For the first time, they practice saying the plain words out loud. The floor does not open. The sky does not fall. What changes is smaller and braver. The next sentence starts honest. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with empathy. The fear of being ordinary once drove everything. That fear demanded worship, exceptional treatment, constant reassurance. Real love would have met that fear with patience if patience had been welcomed. Instead, love was treated as a stagehand. Now the curtains are closed, and the theater is empty. In the quiet seat rows, they meet the human they were too grand to be. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with humility now. They recall the partner's simplest requests. Show up on time, tell the truth quickly, check in when worried, make repairs without delay. None were grand gestures, all were forms of care. They chose grandness of care and called it romance. Today, their hands are empty of roses and full of small facts. Love thrives on humble repetitions, the kind they constantly skipped. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns. Today, daily, jealous of the attention they couldn't control, they seeded doubt where trust should have grown. They tested loyalty with needless trials, then scored invisible points. The game ended when the partner stopped playing. There was no triumphant victory, only a field with trampled grass. Winning, they discover, can look exactly like losing when the prize was partnership. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with courage. They imagine meeting again by accident. In their fantasy, one perfect sentence redeems the past. Reality is plainer. If paths cross, it will be with courteous distance. The partner now protects their peace, and Ace does not negotiate with chaos. The narcissist swallows a truth smoother than pride, but kinder than delusion. Some doors close to guard the life behind them. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns, gently in time. What comes after the breaking point is not spectacle. It is routine. Making amends where possible without insisting on access. Learning to offer praise without needing a spotlight. Practicing patience when no reward arrives. These are untheatrical tasks, the opposite of grandiose identity. Yet, done daily, they stitch back a person who could hold love without harming it. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with respect. They begin to notice beauty that doesn't offer applause, quiet parks at dawn, a text they send without expecting one back, the relief of telling a story with no edits. In small ways, life feels less like a performance and more like a place to live. The loss remains, but it changes shape. It becomes a teacher instead of a tormentor, a compass instead of a cage. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with compassion now. If they are lucky, they seek help, not as a stage to share clever insights, but as a workshop for changing patterns. A good therapist interrupts the charming monologue and asks for actions. Week by week, the narcissist learns to tolerate ordinary tenderness. Progress is not a makeover. It is the slow retirement of costumes that once passed for character. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with patience today. They had chased admiration to escape a private ache, the terror of being unseen, if not extraordinary. That terror shrank only when someone truly saw them. Yet they hurt the person who offered that sight. Understanding this does fix the past, but it reframes the future. They can now choose to be seen through service, not spectacle, through reliability, not rush. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with clarity now. They write a letter they will never send. It is simple, unscored by violin strings. I used you to feel valuable. I ignored your needs. I made love unsafe. You did nothing to deserve that. Thank you for leaving. It saved us both, setting the letter aside. They recognize a gentler strength, letting consequences stand without begging for a rewrite or a final round. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with intention. The old hunger will knock again. A spotlight appears, an admirer arrives, a shortcut to feeling special opens its gleaming door. They practice saying no, not because praise is evil, but because they know the bill it hides. They choose steadiness over spike. Each quiet refusal builds a new self-respect, the kind that does not bankrupt the people standing closest. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns without fear now. Sometimes growth looks like cleaning up the mess you made in rooms you no longer enter. They repay debts, correct rumors, return items left behind. They do not post about it. The work is not photogenic, but it is finally honest. Intending to aftermath, they learn a truth they once mocked. Care is not dramatic, yet it is the only thing that keeps love breathing. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with gratitude. They revisit the beginning with clearer eyes. The praise they soaked in was not endless, it was a generous loan. Every loan expects payments in respect, empathy, and repair. They defaulted, then blamed the lender. Now holding the final notice, they accept the terms they once ignored. If they ever love again, they plan to pay on time. With interest only kindness earns. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with care today. They feared that admitting fault would erase their worth. It didn't. It made space for work that doesn't depend on applause. In that space, they can finally hear what love had tried to teach. Being special is not the point. Being safe is. The partner needed safety, not spectacle. Understanding that lands like a bell at dusk, clear, inevitable, and a little late. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with humility now. They examine the patterns of their family and culture, the subtle lessons that praised winning over listening. Compassion for origins does not excuse outcomes, but it explains momentum. By naming the river, they stop pretending it was rain. Choice returns. With it comes obligation to step to the shore, to learn a slower current, to swim toward people instead of praise. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns steadily today. In dreams, they sometimes see the partner laughing freely, untouched by the calculations that once haunted every room. They wake both wounded and relieved. Wounded because the laughter is no longer theirs to share. Relieved because love survived elsewhere. The realization is bittersweet and clean. They were not the hero of that story, but they can stop being the villain. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with honesty. There is a rumor that self-love cures narcissism. It doesn't. What cures the harm is other love practiced steadily, noticing, apologizing, adapting, repeating. Self-respect helps. Yes, but only when it includes respect for others' boundaries. The narcissist learns that dignity expands when it is shared. Withholding shrinks it. Generosity finally feels like relief. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with empathy now. They begin to measure progress not by how admired they feel, but by how trusted they become. Trust is slow math. It counts kept promises, quiet truths, and repaired missteps. Some people will never trust them again, and that is rightful. Others may over time. They don't rush the arithmetic. Steadiness becomes satisfying, like finding rhythm after years of noise. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns without drama. The world does not hand out awards for unlearning narcissism. There are no trophies, only better Tuesdays. A calm dinner, a message sent without agenda, a meeting where they listen more than they speak. The life they used to scorn as ordinary begins to glow. Ordinary, they discover, is another word for stable, and stable is the soil where real love decides to grow. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with patience now. They once hunted for dramatic love stories to prove they were alive. Now they tend to a quieter life so they can truly live. The ache of loss remains, but it stops commanding the day. It becomes a North Star reminding them what not to do when a new hand reaches for theirs. If that day comes, they will offer warmth without theater and let love be free of fear. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with courage. If the partner ever hears of their changes, let it be through the calm testimony of time, not a headline written by the narcissist. Growth that demands an audience is still a performance. Growth that endures is content with silence. They carry this rule like a small stone in the pocket. No more scripts, no more props, only presence. The weight steadies more than fame. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns with intention. And so the breaking point becomes a birthplace. Not for the old romance, but for a different self. The lesson carved by consequence proves unforgettable. Real love is fragile, and power games crush it. If they ever hold love again, they will use open hands, not tight fists. The past cannot be repaired, but it can be respected. That respect is how the future stays kind. They will remember this lesson and choose kinder patterns slowly today.